What if you could destabilize global markets, strain decades-old alliances, and, potentially, isolate your own country, all with just a few letters? It sounds like the plot of a political thriller, but in the high-stakes world of international trade, it's exactly what happened. On July 7th, President Donald Trump didn't launch a missile, he sent a message. Letters delivered to Japan and South Korea, two of America's most steadfast allies, carried a stark ultimatum, a crippling 25% tariff on all their exports to the US, effective August 1st. This wasn't just policy, it was a public warning, shot fired on social media, a tactic of tariff diplomacy, designed to force concessions. But this move has backfired, creating a wave of uncertainty that is shaking the foundations of global trade. Today, we're breaking down how this strategy is not only alienating allies, but also creating a power vacuum that other global players, like China and Canada, are expertly navigating. This is the story of how pressure can break more than it builds. Let's start with the first shockwave. Japan and South Korea are more than just trade partners with the United States, they are cornerstone allies critical to economic and military strategy in Asia. Yet, the letters they received treated them like geopolitical rivals. The threat was a blanket 25% tariff on everything they sell to the US. The message was clear: open your markets to American goods or face economic consequences. The White House called it a negotiation tactic, a show of strength. They even said the tariffs could be modified upwards or downwards, creating a climate of total uncertainty. The markets reacted instantly. On July 7th, stocks for major companies like Nissan, Toyota, and Honda all dropped. Even US indices like the Dow and Nasdaq took a hit. This wasn't just about numbers, it was about trust. And in international relations, trust is the most valuable currency. By targeting its own allies, the US risked something far greater than a trade deficit: its global credibility. The White House's plan sounded powerful on paper: negotiate customized one-on-one trade deals with every country. But here's the catch. Behind the scenes, Treasury officials admitted they simply didn't have the manpower to negotiate with over 100 countries at once. The result? A chaotic patchwork of threats. Many smaller economies would face blanket tariffs of 10 to 25% regardless of their relationship with the US. This created a global environment of deep uncertainty, making it impossible for companies and countries to plan for the future. Just as the world was reeling from this, President Trump opened a new front. He turned his attention to BRICS, the economic bloc led by China, which also includes Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. He threatened a 10% tariff hike on any nation that aligns with BRICS policies, a term so vague it was impossible to define. This was a sweeping threat aimed at boxing in China, but it risked alienating neutral partners like India and Brazil, who want to trade with everyone, the US, the EU, and China. Instead of isolating Beijing, this move pushed these crucial emerging economies closer to it. And how did China respond to this pressure? Not with counter-tariffs. Instead, Beijing chose a path of careful, deliberate messaging. Its foreign ministry stated that BRICS is an open cooperative platform, not a confrontational bloc. They calmly repeated their position: trade wars have no winners. While the US was making threats, China was making partners. Chinese officials held high-level meetings in Europe, focusing on green energy and strengthening trade outside the dollar system. By presenting itself as a calm, responsible economic power, Beijing gained a massive messaging advantage, looking like the adult in the room. But China wasn't the only country playing the long game. North of the border, Canada took a completely different path. The US tariff deadline of July 21st looming, everyone expected Canada to fold under the pressure. Instead, Prime Minister Mark Carney, a former central banker, did something unexpected. Nothing. He met the high-pressure, chaotic playbook with strategic silence and restraint. Instead of fighting over tariffs, Carney shifted the conversation. He argued that Canada could provide value to the US in bigger fights, helping with China, protecting workers, and securing the border. It was a masterful repositioning. He wasn't an opponent to be beaten, he was an ally to be valued. This strategic silence put President Trump in a bind. If Canada held firm, Trump had to either follow through with punishing tariffs that would hurt his own economy, or back down and look weak. In this standoff, Trump held the microphone, but Carney held the clock. What we're seeing isn't just a trade dispute, it's a clash of two worldviews. On one side, a belief that power comes from pressure, deadlines, and demands. On the other, a strategy built on patience, diplomacy, and building alliances. As the August 1st global tariff deadline approaches, the question isn't whether countries will retaliate against the US, it's whether they even need to. By using tariffs as a global loyalty test, the Trump administration risks isolating America, one ally at a time. Diplomacy built on pressure alone doesn't just fail to persuade, it pushes partners away. And in a world where alliances matter more than ever, that's a price no country can afford to pay. So what do you think? Is this high-pressure strategy a necessary tactic for better deals, or is it causing irreparable damage to global relationships? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world.